Hello, went down to the coffee shop this morning, came back. Scooter, I still use that all the time. It's fantastic. Arrival of rocks. I knew they were coming, but yeah, I've got to move them all there for the driveway either side. Nice little feature, get some lights in between. I don't think though I'm going to be moving any of those in the next couple of weeks or so, so we'll leave them there for a while. There's some whoppers there. I'm not sure I can even budge them, especially that bad boy. So going into the house now, I'm having a little thought at this point. This area that I'm standing in, that door, by the way, I will be knocking through there, but not just yet. This room here, I was thinking bedroom, but I don't know. During the course of this video, I'm going to be playing with some ideas. You can see how it looked before. So obviously it's a massive difference seeing the walls down. The area is still the same. We haven't changed the footprint. Going into this back section now, though, this is quite interesting because, well, this really has to remain as the bathroom, that's for sure. And then down in this section, I was planning on being the kitchen and then leading out into an outdoor kitchen outside. But again, I'm not selling it. It's got to suit my needs and we'll just see what happens. Looking at how it was before, though, and seeing it now, yeah, I'm gonna have fun with this. So as you know, with the whole roof, the purpose of it was there was a crack that was due to lack of supports above all of the doors and windows, and that now has been rectified. Each one has now got a proper support above it. All of the superficial cracks have been repaired, and now it's over to me. I want to get some meshing on there, render it properly and paint it and hopefully transform it. The IBC tank, can't do anything with that just yet. It's just temporary because I can't put the pipe down the wall until that's all sorted out. So it is looking a little bit patchy right now, but I'm pretty convinced at this point now that the guys have finished that I can make this look, well, make it look as good as I possibly can anyway. Yeah, they've done a good job around the windows and doors. And now, of course, I have to measure up and get them all ordered. And hopefully that will happen in the not too distant future that we can get them. It takes a little bit of time, but at least I can imagine at this point. The 1 meter line from where the floor is going to start. That line was put in early on, going all the way around the inside of the house. And hopefully in here as well. Yes, good, because that is going to be my gauge for the floor. And to make sure that I've got it nice and even throughout, obviously that's really important. But at the moment, we're probably on average, because the floor isn't completely flat, about 7 to 8 centimeters below that 1 meter line. And in order for me to get the underfloor heating in here and get a good base down, I need to go down now 20 centimeters from the 1 meter, which is going to be about there, 20 centimeters down. And at the moment, this house was divided into 4 in the main area. We've got this room here, which is a concrete base. This one here, where I'm pointing to with my handy little tape measure, was a concrete pour, and that one there, and that one over there, marking the 4 rooms, and the corridor right down the middle there. Those were tiles. So they all need to come up. All the concrete needs to come up, get down to that 20 centimeters, and then we'll put the water barrier down. Then we'll have a concrete pour, then the insulation, which is part of the underfloor heating, and then concrete pour followed by tiles. And I've got to make sure I'm very accurate. And that's why I'm able to order the doors at this point, because I know my ground level. I just need to make sure that I'm very accurate when I do that, because obviously with the doors in, that floor level has to match exactly. Now I'm going to be tackling the roof first, as I've already mentioned, just because of the temperature that will be rising, and I have to do things in a certain order. And obviously the floor is going to be the very first thing I do. As soon as I get the windows and doors, which may be a month or so from now, once I've ordered them, then they will have to go in. So one way or another, if I take that as an example across the patio door, I'm going to have to get a line to that 1 meter point to make sure that I've got my ground level. So anything I do in here in the meantime, if I'm still doing that, I've got my marker. That's going to be really interesting. Following on from that is going to be plumbing, wiring, and of course it all overlaps. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Chris is looking a little bit fed up right now, and I have to say, so am I. It's the early part of the week. It's looking pretty good at the moment, but we have had a lot of rain, and it's only going to be picking up during the course of the week, and there's going to be lots and lots of wind to accompany that. So I thought I'd bring the quad bike and the motorbike in here, use it as a temporary garage. Don't want them tipping over, or the motorbike anyway. And well, it gives me a chance to clean up around the outside. However, you can probably spot it already. I am not in a good mood right now. No siree. That is a huge problem. And I am gutted, absolutely gutted right now. But we will get it resolved. First thing to note is that I have held back on half of the money, so they won't be getting the rest of it until that is properly resolved. I do know what the problem is. I've been monitoring them as I've been going along, and I was slightly suspicious. Had we not had that rain, and during the course of the week, the rest of it, I guess, is really going to test it, then we would have had to have waited till later in the year when we get the heavier rain back, and then to have the tiles on the roof and all that room sorted out there and have it coming through the ceiling would have been an absolute disaster. So maybe this rain is a blessing in disguise. The guys are going to be coming back later in the week after the rain. I'll run through it with them, and we'll go from there. I'll leave it at that for now, because obviously that's something that's on my mind, and I don't want to say anything until that's fixed. When it is fixed, I'm going to be flooding the roof with loads of water to make sure that that doesn't happen again. I know there's going to be a number of people that are going to say, what do you expect with a flat roof? You should have pitched one on there. Yeah, we know all of that, and I've gone into that so many times. I didn't have any options on that one. You have to go through planning and then more expense. Maybe in the future, that's something that I can consider, but right now that has to get resolved. I don't know what to say, to be honest with you. There is plenty of other stuff that I need to be getting on with, and hopefully that will take my mind off of things. When it warms up, this will all be a past memory, and it will all be resolved. It is worth me pointing out, I have already spoken to Jean, the builder, and he did reassure me, saying, Andy, it's our responsibility, not yours. Please don't worry, we will get it resolved. That is exactly what I want to be hearing, because up to now, I've been very impressed with the work that they've done. Proof will be in the pudding. Oh, it's gone cold. See my breath. Just heard the thunder, wind's picking up, so I take it the rain's about to turn up as well. But we won't let it stop us. It'll warm up soon. Might have it going through the speakers a little bit, the wind, but microphone week 3, it'll turn up soon. Oh, it's cold. That'll be Chris. Good. It's accurate. I always got to calibrate these things every so often. Good to do, but also really good. There's a tape measure, but now that I have to do all of the windows and doors and all of the walls, making sure that I've got all the measurements I need so I can do a good flat plan and get the layout of this house sorted out. So with this thing here, very handy little gadget. The other one I had to push it up against one of the walls. And a laser will come out of one end. It's pretty accurate, but this one, laser comes out of both ends, so I can stand anywhere between, which is good, especially if you're up a ladder in an awkward position. And so far, so good. And now I've got to do the rest of it. Right, I think that's everything that I need. I'll come back to you in a second with hopefully some alternative ideas for the room layout, and I can order the windows and doors. But before that, I've got 2 patient boys waiting for me. I'm going to take them for a walk. Come on. Less I say about this, the better at this point in time. I'm going to reserve anything that I'm got on my mind, I guess, to next week. Because it's not really fair, and it's not good in the heat of the moment to just blurt out, especially when you have a YouTube channel. I've got to be fair on the guys, because they have been good, and they are coming back next week to sort this out. It just happens to be the wettest March since I've moved out here, I guess, and that's just life, isn't it? It's neither different or the same. It's just every winter may have rainier days than others. At least everything's filling up. But it's wrong of me to say anything until this is being resolved, I think. Now, in the meantime, changing the subject, I have been playing around on the computer, which I only set up this week, and I'm trying to learn the new editing software, so you'll probably notice it in this video. It's not very well put together, but the other app I've been learning is for the 3D plan here, which isn't in 3D, it's in 2D. So here, first one, I'm going to go into that one first because I've mentioned it quite a few times. So at the bottom is the front of the house as you're looking at it, and obviously the top is the back, top left. Makes sense as that was quite a narrow area. It's not a small area now we've opened it out, but it's still not the biggest room in the house. So having that as a kitchen flowing outside to have an outdoor kitchen area kind of made sense, and it gives me 2 good sized bedrooms, one at the front window, and also has a door out to the side, and one in the back. The back room I haven't really shown you that yet, and I will do in the future, and that kind of feels kind of good. I haven't had any ideas for a ensuite because realistically the house isn't big enough, and coming from my humble past, we never had en suites, so it doesn't bother me at all. would have been nice, but we've got to be realistic with the space that we have. And storage is also really important. It's something that I've been lacking in all of the previous houses. But for me, it's up there as one of the most important things. Vacuum cleaner always ends up floating around the house. So the second one, this is the one I'm leaning towards, because looking at it from the perspective of what's most important. Time-wise, you spend more time in the bedroom. For me, the lifestyle I have, I'm outdoors most of the time. So when I'm indoors, probably, well, you're sleeping, so you're going to be spending more hours in it. But it's not the most important room. So having that at the back, in that back room, makes sense. And I can put a patio door in there to make it feel larger. And, well, just sleeping in it, unfortunately, just sleeping in it at the moment, that makes sense. But the kitchen is probably the most important room in the house. So at the front, right, you looking at the picture there, coming in the door to the right, having a kitchen in the front of the house with a front window, a sink there, and then a side door going outside, I think is really nice. It makes the kitchen area bigger. It enables me to have a island of some description and chairs around there. I can put a table in there, and it just feels like a good usable space. And it's not completely closed off from the lounge, because I can go between the two columns. And I think that that feels more usable and more realistic for me to have it like that. Now, that room where the kitchen was going to go isn't the biggest room in the world. It's about 2 meters 75, something like that, by 4 meters something. So it's quite long but narrow, and I guess I could have that as a studio if I want to, and then put a sofa bed in there. But that's how it is right now. I think that works out pretty well. Again, sorry if it looks a little bit sketchy. I will in the future try and get something a little bit better, but at least it gives you an idea going forward what my plans are. And I think right now, well, I can fix on it, but I'm also having to wait a little bit now. So as long as I fix on it in the next couple of weeks or so, I've got a bit of time just to whir over it and start planning everything. Well, paradise it isn't. Not right now, but it will be. Everything looks really bad here when it's wet. And it's been raining all week, non-stop. Wind is picking up, the temperature's dropped, I'm constantly soaked. Pellet burner is on. Wasn't expecting that, but hey hum. I guess the good news is that it brought my attention to that. So let's see. I've got an appointment in a bit, so I've got to get ready to get out. Fingers crossed, wish me luck. Yeah. Well, we've got a bit of blue sky. By the way, the back, got it, I think, sorted out now. It turned out that my hip had moved. It was not aligned. So he's cracked it all back into place. And obviously I'm a little bit sore afterwards, but I at least now can bend down and just about get my socks on, which is good. We'll see during the course of the next week. I've got to take it easy. He said, when I go on the walks, do lots of walking, but don't go up and down in the hills. So what's the very first thing I did this morning? Well, I had to go up in the hills because the rain that we had this week was insane. And I wanted to check out the barragem. You can see the big one now has got really high. That's really good. It's the highest I've seen it since the first year I moved into this house, where it was going over the top. And my well, I'm really, really excited about that, because as you can see here now, the water line is way up on the top ring, and that's now slightly lower than the bank around it, but it's higher than the ground level that it sits on, which is kind of fun. And well, let's just see how long that water lasts. I'm pretty sure it'll be empty again by the end of the year, but at that point we'll be up on my barragem, the dam, and getting that wider and deeper. In the meantime, back here, well, I've still got to take it easy. But you know now that we've ordered the windows and doors. Hopefully, in the next 8 weeks or so, we'll get those here and get them in place. That will transform it. Now I've got to concentrate on the floor area, get all that up. Okay, let's not worry about the roof. Next week, we'll get it resolved. Okay, thanks for watching. See you next week. Take care. Bye.